Hello, hello, happy new year, and welcome to the first episode of Bevies and Balls in the year 2024. Is this the year when we're finally gonna upload consistently? Stay tuned to find out.
Time
As
will tell.
always, time will tell. New year, same great people. We got me, Matteus. Today, Bevies and Balls, you guys know the drill. If you don't, it's a little sports podcast where with every hot take, though, if you or one of us don't agree with, hey, that's where you grab your drink and drink responsibly, of course, and drink if you don't agree to the take. I am today drinking some Moosehead, and as always, I'm here with the main man, Luca. Luca, what are you drinking? What are you up to in the new year?
New year, trying non-alcoholic beer. This is on behalf of good old Grandpa Weir, Grampy. Shout out Grampy. We have some Coors Edge, non-alcoholic. He's
Yes,
kept
sir.
this when he showed up from the Novas, so we're gonna give this a go. New year has been kind, and we're working a lot, and that's kind of just what the grind
Yes,
is right
sir.
now. But we got this
Yes, sir.
to do with.
Working hard to bring you guys the content you deserve.
Yes, sir.
Now, on the last episode, I said Otani to the Blue Jays. Look at those odds. And let me tell you, at the time, I said them before Vegas and fake flight tracker went all the way up to the moon. However, I hope you didn't do that because you all would have lost a lot of money.
A
And
lot of money.
Luca, this brings us to our first topic of today. Just straight up, are the Dodgers ruining baseball?
Yes and no. It's not the Dodgers' fault because simply within these rules, I'm assuming you're referring to the Shohei Ohtani contract, the deferred money within the
Well,
contract, in which Shohei Ohtani will earn $68 million, basically when
oh,
he's after retirement. Uh,
And just to add on, not only did they get Otani, they got the most recent signing of Teoscar Hernandez, which is another star player that they're just throwing into the lineup.
uh,
And they also got a Yamamoto.
Yep, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the most expensive
Like,
pitching contract ever without throwing a pitch, so they believe in this kid. He's 25. You never really get those free agents from Japan. And they also got Tyler Glasnow in a trade and extended his for like 121 million. So the Dodgers are simply just doing what every owner should do: is spend money, and they're doing it in a smart way. More so just because they are like objectively, if you defer money, which is like the big theme is the theme of deferral, Yamamoto, Otani,
mhm,
Teoscar even is deferring money down the line. You have to convince the player to do that because that money's not going to be worth the same that it was
mhm.
at the time. So
well,
yeah,
just to add on to that, an interesting perspective that I read
Mhm.
was when they're done playing in California, when they get that deferred money, it's not subject to California state income tax.
absolutely. And I feel like that's the main one, at least with Otani. That's the genius tax maneuver. Just simply by the time playing days are done, get the money, you'll be with operating likely more or less within Japan. And if he doesn't own the team as it is, he'll be only going to the state of California like once or twice, a couple times. So I think in that regard, it's genius. I like that theory.
But Luca, as you've established, you're more the baseball aficionado than me on this pod. And from a non-baseball fan's perspective, when my team is nothing short of incompetent, when I see the Dodgers be like Thanos and just assemble the Infinity Stone of superstars, looking from the existing superstars they've had, such as Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, adding Otani, Yamamoto. I just don't see how this team loses. But it's you're telling me a team like the Pirates who spend like 20 who spend like a tenth of Otani's contract on their team are gonna do anything. I just don't understand how anyone can stand watching this 162 game long regular season when you have teams like the Dodgers who just based on lineup alone seem like they're going to dominate, and with a payroll with a number bigger than some countries' GDP. How can you as a fan be interested?
It's definitely difficult. There's a lot more difficulty towards it, but the main interest comes when they don't do anything in the playoffs, which has been the Dodgers' mo for what, like 10 years now. They won the division nearly every year except for 2021. The one year they
And
didn't.
the COVID, their Mickey Mouse cardboard cutout when the lights are dimmed on purpose doesn't count. You filthy Dodger
Well,
fucks.
I mean, like some would say that's the hardest one to win, and I will accept that argument. But it definitely seems like they think it doesn't feel real because they're just trying to win this, and that's really what these deals do. It's like, okay, you're gonna finally compete this. You can't lose to Diamondbacks in CS anymore. You can't lose to these
No,
nothing teams. You got to
so
be like World Series every year. That is exactly what this contract is
mm-hmm,
trying. So if that isn't the case, then
mm-hmm. Amen. I don't know. I'll just say is as a neutral, the fact that I have to wait until October to care about baseball really puts me off on the sport over the summer when I feel like I should definitely, I want to attend games. I want to, follow it. I want to be in fantasy leagues. But when I see stuff like this, the fan aspect, I feel like is just lost on me.
yeah, I don't know. I have to drink with you on that one, just because it's baseball is a weird sport, and because of its longevity, the 162 games that go on, nothing is ever as it seems. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't like look, take the in 2021 the Braves were a team. Their best player Ronald Acuna Jr., who just won the MVP last year, he
Yep,
tore his ACL in the middle of the season. No one sees that kind of stuff coming. Who's to say that
that's
injuries cannot
true.
happen to star players and people need
Indeed,
to
yep.
adjust? The playing field always balances. When the Mets went crazy and spent nearly
Mm-hmm.
$1 billion on payroll last year trying to compete, everyone's like, "Oh, okay, well, this is the Mets division. It's done. It's
And
over." It
they didn't even make the
wasn't even
playoffs.
close.
Same with
So
the Padres, right?
that is why you watch regular season baseball, because you never know
It's
what's going to
true.
happen. The sport is such an unlikely
True.
phenom. Speaking of unlikely
Mm-hmm.
phenoms, National Football League, please go on.
Oh my goodness. Well, as you know, the last week of the regular season just wrapped up, and let me tell you, a few surprises with those games, but those games are in the past, and we are looking towards the future. The playoff brackets are set after 18 grueling weeks. Luca, what is your marquee matchup that you are most looking forward to?
If it was me, are we talking just favoritism? Are we talking pure talent?
I'm talking which game are you not going to miss when it comes on?
Uh, Hopefully I can find it, likely illegally. But I am so interested in the Rams and Lions, and
Rams line. Well, that's not the game you'll have to watch illegally. Little side note: Peacock spent over two, like around $200 million in advertising and purchasing the rights to the Dolphins and Chiefs game.
that
So if you
game.
don't have Peacock, you won't be able to watch that game. However, Rams, Lions. We'll talk about the Chiefs and Dolphins in a minute.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Yeah, no, I just looked at the NFL website. The only one that doesn't have like specific stations that it'll be available on in Canada is the Rams Lions. So hopefully we'll see that. But
Oh,
in any case, Rams and Lions is everything you want. You have the Lions who have won their division for the first time since 1993, years before both of us were born. They're
yep,
Dan Campbell is an absolute menace as a coach. He is an intense motivator, and just the Goff versus Stafford, the old dog
yep.
who went to find greener pastures and did find them. Now faces the young pup who he's traded for. It's as everything you want to see, and especially given a lot of fraudulence calls on the Lions' end, especially for some of their performances in January or not January,
Well,
November,
throughout the
December.
year.
Yeah, throughout the year. But no, that's one I think just will be a fun matchup regardless. There's two teams that have a lot to prove, and I feel like that would be a great one there. There's a lot of other matchups that could also find. I can also find that it will be very much entertaining. I don't know if we're going through them one by one. I don't know what you want to
Yeah,
do with
we're
these
just
two.
going to go through each series. I just want to hear your thoughts on the most interesting one. And let me tell you, I agree. I think Rams Lions on Sunday night is the must watch game of the weekend. Side note, I was listening to Bill Simmons talk about this. Why the hell is there a game on Monday night?
There is.
Just make all six games on
Oh,
Saturday and Sunday.
yeah.
Why?
I guess if you're not doing the Thursday, you might as well just pack them all up on the weekend. Even things
Yeah,
out.
just make and everyone who like playoff football would dominate TV ratings over any like what January basketball and hockey. Like,
Yeah.
let's be real. Let's be
I
real.
mean,
But
there's probably good reasoning for it, but nonetheless, yeah.
back to Rams Lions here. Uh, I agree. I think that's a game to watch. All the storylines. McVay against Goff is a big one. Matthew Stafford in Detroit, huge, and the first playoff game in Ford Field ever. So
I didn't know that. Damn.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute banger. I'm super excited. Personally, I am a biased Rams fan, and I think the Rams offense, with Stafford being the gunslinger he is, and Puka Nakua being the absolute dog
What a
that he
revelation.
is, with Cooper Kupp, who has looked solid. He's looked solid coming off that injury. I gotta say, I think the Rams win this, and I think the fans in Detroit are heartbroken. What are your thoughts, Luca? Bless
I,
you.
I feel like myself as I sneeze from being allergic to toxic fans. I don't mind the Lions situation. I think I myself have kind of been sort of thrown into a somewhat Lions fandom. I'm a free agent. I don't really. I never raised, but as a football fan, I'm sort of gaining a lot. So I'm dabbling here and there, but I've always just liked the style the Lions run with, and I feel like
Dan
if
Campbell.
I feel like if there was ever a team to be susceptible to losing this kind of matchup, it's the Lions. But I have hope that the defense toughs it out, and I feel like as good as his offense is, I don't know if it's good enough to smash the Lions defense as it has been. So as long as the defense comes prepared, I feel like the Lions have this. It's not going to be very much far. It'll be a very close matchup. I put like 33-21.
Laporta is out. The rookie tight end who set the receiving, who set
Allegedly,
one of a receiving.
allegedly, they said
He
he
tore
might have
his
been trying to come.
MCL. He tore his
Bullying?
MCL. He's not playing. Something. I'm not. If a 260-pound man tears an MCL, I don't think it matters what grade it is. He's
It's
not
not
ready to
bone
play
bruise.
football.
It's not bone bruise, and he said he
Oh
might.
well, maybe the injury report I was reading is false, but if he is not 100%, I think that is a factor that severely hurts the Lions' chances.
Absolutely.
But we got our
I'll clear.
predictions. I said Rams, you said Lions. Let's move on to that Chiefs Dolphins game that it will be exclusively streamed on Peacock for some reason. Uh, Tyreek Hill coming back to Arrowhead. The struggling Chiefs against the fraudulent Dolphins, who have only one win against a team above 500 all year. I think this is a way more interesting matchup that a lot of people give it credit for. I think Mahomes and Kelsey has not been that game-breaking duo that they have been in the past. Kelsey is no longer constantly demanding double teams. Receivers are dropping the ball all over the place. But again, Miami has looked susceptible all year long. Luca, to me, this game's looking like a toss-up. I don't trust anyone here. What are your thoughts?
I thought you would be very much on one side here. Okay. No. Kadarius Toney himself looks like a dolphin the way he's slipping and sliding on his butterfingers the whole way. So there's that. But we have that running out. I don't know. I've watched the Chiefs this year, and it feels like they've won in spite of themselves. There's a lot of teams in there that have won in spite of themselves, but I don't know. Something feels off there. It feels like a lot of people yelling at the coaching staff. Mahomes getting upset at referees. Like it feels like there's a lot of just intricacies just here and there. Uh, I sense blood in the water there. No pun intended. And Dolphins, yes, they have not beaten like a very good team. They got the Cowboys, but yeah, it's hard to have faith in them, especially when they've had that sort of record. But I don't know, man. I could. I'm telling you, I think Miami shows up here. I feel like it's.
Really?
I know you always give ties to the veteran. The people have been there before. You're defending champs, but it doesn't feel like they're defending champs. This feels like one of those years in the Patriots dynasty where they were just off and they just couldn't figure it out. Maybe like
Yeah, like the year they lost to the Titans at
yeah,
home. I remember
yeah.
that game.
Like if Chiefs fully win this, I would not be surprised in the slightest. But I don't. I Mike McDaniel has got something cooking, and as long as Tyreek is at like 80%, which is the biggest concern there, I think there's a shot here.
I think Waddle needs to be healthy as well.
Yes.
Because I know he did not play Week 18. All I'm saying is, it's so hard to go against Mahomes in Arrowhead in the wild card round. There's a reason Miami is the wild card team here and the lower seed. And as much as I think Mike McDaniels is a phenomenal coach, as much as I think they got talent on the roster, I don't think if you're just looking at the most important position in football from a quarterback perspective, if you're telling me I have to take Tua or I have to take Mahomes and it's in Arrowhead, I'm sorry, I'm not thinking. I think in the end, what we're forgetting is a lot of that Chiefs roster. They've done it. They've done it. They've had playoff success. Who on Miami? Miami. Hill's won a ring. Jalen Ramsey's won a ring. They have experience. But I'm looking around, and I see guys that don't perform when the lights get too bright. And I would love to be proved wrong, but I'm taking the Chiefs in this one, Luca. I am taking the Chiefs.
Which is what I thought you would do. That's why I was shocked you were so neutral at the beginning.
Well, I'm neutral because listen, Jay, I don't have a football with me. I have a little hand sanitizer. Bang. One more catch and check this out. Whoa. I'm better than 90% of the Chiefs receivers. It's the funniest thing on social media when you see a guy drop a pass and it's like, oh, get ready to learn Chiefanese, or it's get ready to learn Canadian, buddy, because they're getting sent to the CFL. But I'm starting to digress. I think we should now stay in the AFC and talk about the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills are somehow the second seed in the AFC, and they are hosting the Steelers. Luca, I don't even want to talk about this. I think I was looking at some odds for our betting friends, and the Steelers have the lowest odds to win the Super Bowl at plus 15,000. TJ Watt is confirmed out for this game. Mason Rudolph is the starter. And let me tell you, I think this is just Bills all the way. I don't think this injured, depleted Mike Tomlin voodoo magic somehow BSing to a playoff spot team. This is their destiny. This is the Steelers' way. Bullshit your way to 9-10 wins, winning record. Get to the wild card game despite themselves and get smoked. And Luca, I don't have to think. I'm taking the Bills. I think whatever.
It's got to be Bills, right?
It's got to be. There's no way. There's no way in hell it's not. If anyone says the Steelers, they're either a delusional Steelers fans saying Steelers got a Super Bowl. I can't even say it. But it's Bills. It's Bills.
Yeah, no, it's just funny how I was very confident Bills weren't even making the dance, and now they won the division. So that's a drink for me on that one. Good Lord. But yeah, no, you got it, right? If you don't, this is the most terrifying Bills loss ever. So we'll find out. But,
so we're both taking Bills. By the way, for I am keeping track of Luca and I's prediction. Keep track of yours as well. And, next episode we'll compare and we'll see who has to chug their drink. Who has to chug their drink at the start of the episode, and who do you trust moving forward?
I like that. Okay.
Now let's get the last AFC matchup out of the way, and I think this one's really interesting. We got the Houston Texans hosting the Cleveland Browns. Now, CJ Stroud versus Joe Flacco is not a playoff matchup I was expecting in 2024. I'm sorry. I think Joe, the elite quarterback that is Joe Flacco, should be in conversation for comeback player of the year.
Oh, easily.
He went almost an entire year without playing professional football, comes back at age 57 to play for the Browns after playing for the Jets. I'm sorry. I understand DeMar Hamlin came back from a near-death experience, and I am very thankful he's okay. But he has not nearly had the impact nor the pain of playing for the New York Jets. And to come back from that and lead this team to the playoffs, I think has been nothing short of spectacular. And let me tell you, as much as I am a CJ Stroud believer, I don't know. This game is leaving me with a lot of questions, Luca. What about yourself?
You took a lot of the words out of my mouth there for Joe Flacco. To be playing the best football of his career is one of the favorite. The Browns have been one of the favorite stories of this season by far. And the defense has never wavered. They've always been consistent. They've always taken to the brink, and I feel like that's what you're probably going to expect going into Houston here. Houston, who has had a revolutionary year. Remember, their coach I forget the name. I'm not a huge football guy, but their coach intentionally won the last game of the season to get them the second overall pick when they could have easily had the first in Bryce Young, and that got them C.J. Stroud. That coach, who was now fired, he knew he was fired. He deserves a little bit of props there because he single-handedly turned this organization around, as well as C.J. Stroud. Very emotional again when he clinched the playoff spot. I love the Texans. I think they are a very talented team. I don't see them just getting past this one. I just feel like the Browns have a lot more older and not necessarily experienced in the postseason per se, but like look at it. Joe Flacco himself has been there in a lot of capacities. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's the main guy in the Ravens bowl runs,
Yep.
right? Yeah. So
Yep.
he knows what he's doing.
One
would assume, and it's very much interesting. It's the old dog versus the new bull, and I have no doubt the Texans will be in much more contentions and playoff wise as of later. But yeah, no, I go Cleveland here, as talented as the Texans are, but
Cleveland.
They're a good enough.
Mm-hmm.
For lack of a better term, they're boring, but they're efficient style, so which is good. And then Joe
Flacco's chaos. I mean, I don't know, man. All I'm saying is the NFL scriptwriters are insane because you knew this game was meant for Deshaun to come back into Houston, but he has his own thing, and I hope the Browns get punished for giving that guy that much guaranteed money because I think that's gross, and I think this is karma for the Browns. I think the story of Joe Flacco ends in the playoffs against the Texans, who are, again, don't forget, the Texans are the home team here. And I think the Browns, again, injuries, I feel like got the best of this team. I feel like, they would have won the division. They could have won the division, I feel, had players like Nick Chubb remained healthy.
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's out for the right. This is the Browns that missing some of their stars. Mind you, they're still a formidable team. They had a better record than the Texans, funny enough. But I don't know. Something about them Texans and something about C.J. Stroud, I cannot pick against him. But we're gonna have to switch it up to some different teams. Now I don't know about you, but I have a lot of Eagles fans in my life. And let me tell you, I love all of them until we talk about football.
Yep.
And the Eagles are facing the Bucs in Tampa because Tampa Bay somehow won the worst division in modern football history. And Luca, as much as I want my Eagles friends to be disappointed, is there any way on paper the Bucs actually pull this out of their ass and win?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
So, whoa, this is confidence coming, man.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'm drinking to that, by the way.
Oh no. I understand it, but I'm on this train. I'm on the Baker train and the awful Eagle defense train. Is it Matt Patricia that's running the defense right now?
I believe so. Yes. So.
And that was a mid-season adjustment. And tell me, have they looked the same? They've nowhere close to looking the same. And ever since they lost that big game to the Niners, it felt like they've just been a defeated team. And sometimes you look at the record and it's like they were a fantastic team in the first half. They were unreal. But you look at the team going into the playoffs. If first halves only counted, the Bengals would probably be a very favorite Super Bowl. But when the second half counts, you lose your top guy, then these things happen. So there's a very possible chance that the Bucs come in and just steal their lunch money, and especially Baker Mayfield. Like, he's low-key been there before. He hasn't done a whole lot per se, but I don't know. I've always thought the Buccaneers were sort of underachieving, but like I could totally see this. I could totally see them.
The Buccaneers are bad. The
Buccaneers I know they're bad.
Are a bad team.
I know they're bad, but they're not worse than that defense. So yeah,
I think
drink away, please.
Oh, I will, because let me tell you why you're delayed. You think the Buccaneers are going to win? I'm going to write this down. You think the Buccaneers are going to beat the Eagles?
Yep. I can see it. I can see it. Jalen Hurts' middle finger needs to be readjusted too. I think,
well, yes, the Eagles are hurt. Yes, the Eagles have poor form. Yes, the Eagles have all these question marks. I've watched the games. I've seen them play. They do not look convincing in the slightest. I can't argue that. What I can argue is they made a Super Bowl last year with much of the same lineup. I feel like on a talent level, they easily, easily have more talent than the Buccaneers. I just like the names I see more than I like the names on that Buccaneers roster. And I don't think the Buccaneers have that ability besides, again, Baker Mayfield. You're talking about Baker Mayfield. Again, he did not do he was an average quarterback this year who was doing average things. When I look, I don't think the Buccaneer, maybe Mike Evans, but they don't necessarily have that guy that can take over a game. And I believe the Eagles, on their day, have multiple of those guys. All it takes is one tush push. All it takes is, a big A.J. Brown reception. They got Julio Jones, who had like 2 touchdowns in week 17, right? And I think that the fact that the Eagles just have more of these guys is why they're going to take this game. But I'm saying to make this interesting, we'll make this game the double or nothing game where they'll count as instead of 1 point for getting it right, like the other games, this one counts for 2. Thoughts? Because you're so confident.
I could very much see a collapse here. And mind you, every single one of your points is absolutely valid. Like objectively on paper, the Eagles are the much better team. I just don't know if they can escape the vibes right now. I'm very curious.
And they had the better record. Because again, the Buccaneers faced the Panthers twice.
Yep.
That has got to be a cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And didn't they lose to the Panthers once?
And that
it's a Falcon. It was a Falcon. I know the Falcons were one because again, the Falcons are in this division.
Yep.
Like they won. They won in the division. It is like, dude, Desmond Ridder. There's a reason why all these coaches and general managers were fired. This was disgusting.
It was awful
stuff.
Mm-hmm. Quick hot take: but Zach Wilson is a Falcon next year. Write that down.
What?
Zach Wilson's a Falcon next year.
Zach Wilson to the Falcons. Whatever you're smoking, please.
They're gonna trade him.
Give me some.
Falcons need a QB. You want to check out?
Yeah, they're not picking him. No, I'd rather take Jake Browning than Zach Wilson.
Yeah. I believe the Packers also lost to the Panthers, though, didn't they?
No, they almost did.
Oh, they almost did. That's what it was.
They almost did because they have Joe Barry as the defensive coordinator. Now, speaking of the Packers, beautiful segue into our final game on this wildcard weekend. Dem boys and the Packers. Now, Luca, I'll be honest. I'm going to be straight up. The Cowboys at home this year are a different team than the Cowboys on the road. Every stat shows that. Their record shows that. And frankly, I don't see that changing in this instance. I would like to say the Packers have had a good year. Jordan Love, after his, questionable start to the season, has really come into his own. Now, I don't think the Packers necessarily have another Hall of Fame quarterback on their hands. Thank goodness for the rest of us. But I think they generally have a franchise guy, and I think it's going to be a relatively close game. But again, it's a Joe Barry-led defensive unit who they've proved susceptible to things all year long, and it's the Cowboys at home who look completely different than they do on the road. Some interesting storylines in this one. Mike McCarthy against his old team, as much as I believe LaFleur will outcoach McCarthy, maybe by the slimmest of margins. I look at this. Dak is having one of the best years of his career. He threw under 10 interceptions for the first time ever.
He proved us all wrong. He did do it.
He did. Funny enough, at the beginning of the year, he was say, I'm not going to throw 10 interceptions this year. I thought he was going to throw more, and that's why it'd be funny. But he threw under, which I don't think anyone expected. So I'll be honest, this one, I'm feeling them boys, and it'll be painful for all of us when the Cowboys win, and the media will be talking about it. But I look at the lineups. I just look at the Cowboys' home record. They've been the better team all year. They've been an even better team at home. I don't really see how the Packers can compete. But Luca, enough about my thoughts. Let's hear yours.
Oh, I'm pretty much on the same train. I think it's very much underrated the importance of the Eagles choking that division because that gives the Cowboys more home games or as many home games as humanly possible uh, to perform at their best, and I believe they are in as top form as they've ever seen them. Now, maybe I'm just like don't watch football enough. I never really see them in the mainstream media as much.
It's
Maybe
because
it's
we're in
because
Canada. It's because we're
yeah,
in Canada. Like straight up. They
I
are.
guess they're just tormented either way, uh, but yeah,
Imagine the Leafs, like the Leafs coverage in Ontario. That's what like Cowboys coverage is, right? Because they're the most valuable sport franchise in the world. They're the most popular sport franchise.
they're the evil empire, I
Popular
guess.
maybe, but again,
You go to them.
that aside,
Yeah,
predictions.
nonetheless, yeah, no. Packers had a great season. Jordan Love will be their starting quarterback for a long, long time.
Mhm.
I just don't see it being enough to stop the Cowboys right now. And I look forward to who they play next because I think that will be the more interesting one. If the Cowboys lose this though, oh my god,
I'll be throwing a party.
they're officially cursed. They're officially
A
cursed.
party at my
They were
house.
cursed
We're
before,
gonna
but
party at my house. I don't care. But let me confirm. You're saying Cowboys?
Cowboys.
All right. So I'm just gonna quickly read through our list, see if anything that you agree on, want to change last minute. So we started. Let's go with the NFC. We'll just review all those games. Rams, Lions. I said Rams. You said Lions. Uh, we both said the Cowboys over the Packers. For the double or nothing, Eagles, Bucks. I took the Eagles, and you took the Buccaneers. Absolute lunatic. Moving on to the AFC, we both picked the Bills over the Steelers. I feel like that's a no-brainer, as we mentioned. You took the Browns. I took the Texans. That will be a very interesting game to
That
watch.
one could really go either way, so I'm excited to watch that one. That one's gonna be fun.
And then I think one of the Tyreek Hill redemption arc won't happen. I took the Chiefs, you took the Dolphins, but another game where both teams look mighty fraudulent. By the way, that's good. Let us know your thoughts on the new segment called MFers, the mighty fraudulence.
Fraudulence.
Um, and we rate the fraudulent teams. And I wrote down your prediction of Zach Wilson signs with the Falcons, which I will. That is so absurd. I am going to drink to that as well.
And when it happens, what happens?
And if it happens, Luca, I'm telling you, I'm going to submit my resume because I think I can be a better damn job. But that wraps up our playoffs. Now, Luca, I'm thinking 1 minute. We're going to breeze through quick one sentence, a bunch of topics that are been happening around in the sporting world as we are running out of time before we sign off. 1 minute on the clock. Luca, your thoughts on the refs and the Raptors from last night's game?
Uh, Atrocious. At least in the fourth quarter. It was Ben Taylor. Uh, we don't have to say as Raptors fans what Ben Taylor is. Fred VanVleet's already said it 10 months ago to the day. And I was following this. I wasn't fully watching it immediately, but I saw the free throws are like ridiculous. 23-2. Come on, man.
In the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter. The last time we saw this was the Cleveland Toronto playoff matchup where it was like 42-10 in the first half. So that's nuts. And as a Raptors fan, you're used to being like, okay, well, this is what it is. We just think we're crazy, and then the coach is gonna be like, yeah, it's fine. Darko went off. Darko is my mother flipping dog. I love Darko so much. He finally just like blew out because it is unacceptable. Scotty Barnes is just as much of a star player in the league as some other guys, perhaps not LeBron AD level, obviously, but he should be getting his close. You see the yeah. You see the Max Christie like layup on. There's three of them there, and you can clearly see it. The most other one is Ben Taylor, not using the whistle on the Austin Reeves
until the shot missed. Yeah,
that
all
one
referees do that. That's an NBA problem, and sort of cut you. I think this shows a bigger problem about the league, especially now that sport gambling is becoming so much more prevalent. I do not see how you can watch a game like this and be willing to put money on it when you can clearly see how much influence and power these officials have and the fact that they are simply not held accountable. As Luca mentioned, Fred VanVleet 10 months ago mentioned, he said, I'll take the $30,000 fine to talk about how fucking awful he was. And let's quote what he said. The fact is that the leagues want us to gamble on stuff like this when there's no transparency, no punishments. And I want to defend the Lakers for a second here before we quickly move on. 18, if you watch the game, the Raptors did intentionally foul because they only lost by 3 points. It was a tight game. Before the intentionally fouling started, near the end of the fourth quarter, the free throws were 18-2.
Still too much.
Again, that's still absurd, but I do want to not defend the Lakers, but just provide some clarity. Now, Toronto Sport number 2. I see the big Leaf jersey. William Nylander, $92 million contract. What are your quick thoughts, my man?
Overhated. It is a lot. It's going to be interesting how they sign players next year, but I think it's a good value. Barring another global pandemic, the cap will be going up at a good rate. It's projected to go up by, 6 to 8 million this year, or something along those lines. That's good. That money's already been spent on Nylander and Matteus. That's what it is. But I think over time that number will get less and less and less. It's the same amount of percentage as when Crosby signed his initial $8.7 million in the Pittsburgh cap. I feel okay about it. Obviously now it's like very much it's the core four or bust. You're going to need a lot of space in order to get done. And I think Trelving has demonstrated he's got good at getting guys on the cheap, as you see with the performances of William Lagesson, Simon Benoit, Noah Gregor, all these guys, who are 2 of the 3 are RFAs, by the way, so you'll hopefully be seeing them around and keeping them at this good rate. So I think if you can just consistently find guys on a cheap way, this is a sustainable way to go. It's just like, hopefully you can win more than 2 rounds this year.
Hopefully. I think that I worry about this contract a little bit just because of term. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Willie is the oldest out of the Matthews Marner. Willie is the oldest out of Matthews and Marner because he was drafted before the both of them.
Yes,
right. And he got 8 years. I want to say he's like 20. He's what, 27 or he's going on 28 this season, right?
I believe so. I'm going to confirm that. He is 27 currently, and he'll be 28 in May.
So he turns 28 this year. So the contract starts on the year he turns 29. So you're going to have to be paying the 34-year-old Nylander, 35-year-old Nylander, $11.5 million. I'm just saying, again, but they don't care about the future. They care about now. And now, I think they got him for what he's been playing. And I don't think you can fault the organization for that. I think Nylander gets too much hate because there's a lot of Don Cherry-esque Leaf fans who are racist towards Swedes, straight up. You know how we talked about those Swedish players when he was still on air. The youngins on here might not know, but he does. But again, I think it's a good signing. I think now the question is, can he continue this production for the rest of the year? I think he can. I don't understand with the minutes he's getting, the power play time he's getting, the around him. I don't see how he doesn't perform. Although I will say the no move clause on the contract is going to be what hinders the Leafs moving forward. But
I can't deny that. I can't deny that, but you got to pay guys to keep guys there. And I don't think he wanted to leave. I don't think the Leafs wanted to go. It is what it is. And he's been playing like he's earned it. So he's held up his end of the bargain, and now he's talking a lot more about like very bluntly saying like, I don't care how many points I get, I don't ever like there's a one goal that we need to accomplish here. So if that's the goal, let's keep that the goal. That's all I need.
We'll keep everyone updated with hockey talk, basketball talk, and we'll see who's better on their football predictions in next week's episode because Luca, we're running out of time.
Before we go, I need to mention one thing on the basketball front because I didn't get to it. Please remember there was a referee that was promptly fired for actually gambling on these games. So don't say it's a conspiracy theory. Don't say it's bound. It's happened, and it could happen again. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Or don't gamble, everyone. Gambling's bad. But Happy New Year to all. 2024 is going to be exciting. We're going to have a bunch of exciting episodes coming your way. Social media accounts in the works. And, our TikTok clips are going to go viral. So, hey, you can become a fan before it's too late. Sayonara, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
New Year.